Hello everyone, just another week as an Arsenal fan doing my videos. Here we are. It's a couple of days after the Leicester game. I don't know. It's getting harder and harder for me to talk about stuff that is happening week in, week out. Before the game, all the talk was about the fact that Leicester were favourites. It feels to me now like a long time ago since a game against Leicester, even away, and when Arsenal would have been considered favourites for that game. But it was one of those games where, to me personally, it felt like, yes, Leicester were on a run of form that Arsenal weren't on. They had the confidence that Arsenal haven't got at the moment. They're at home, they're doing well, they're under Brendan Rodgers. But I always thought that, we as a club and Unai Emery probably had enough about them to be better than Leicester, better than Brendan Rodgers. And maybe that's snobbery from me as an Arsenal fan. It's what I've spoken about before, with the Watfords and the Wolverhamptons and Burnleys and Villas and whatnot. Even under George Graham and Bruce Rock, these were games that we would win and win well, and we're just not doing it at the moment. And when you look at it, the team that we've got on paper should at least be doing as well as Leicester are doing, to be fair. I don't think Brendan Rodgers has waved any sort of magic wand up there. He's just got them going back to doing what Claudio Ranieri had them doing, and they've got good players in Vardy and Maddison. Look back to when they won a title, they had Vardy and Mahrez and Kante, and they've got players that are doing those similar sort of roles again, and they're playing to their strengths and they're doing what they're doing. They've got no other interferences, if you like, from other cup competitions, so they're getting on with it. Fine, great. They've got the model. They're getting there. But we as a club, Arsenal as a club, should be able to match them. One of the things that annoyed me the most was we didn't try and match them. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb. It's going to be a bit weird, but I understood his tactics. I got what he wanted to do. Right, for me as a layman watching the game, the same as all the other fans are watching. I've got no top level football experience. I used to play. I watch my kids my kid plays football week in, week out and whatnot. Play FIFA, watch Match of the Day, all that, blah 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 blah. And for me, what it looked like he was doing was saying, look, Leicester like to push the ball, like to pressure the ball. They're going to expect us to pressure them high up the pitch. Let them come to the halfway line. Let the defenders have the ball, walk all the way out of it. They think they've got it. Because that's compacting the space that they've got left to pass the ball into. Because they're only going to be passing it into our third of the pitch, between our half of the centre circle and the box. It's going to need to be an amazing ball to get that ball. You then pressure them when they get to the centre circle. That's what it seemed like to me. But we just didn't have the right players to then pressure for some reason. We weren't pressurising in the right spot. So we was letting them come up. We were sort of half pressuring them. We were getting the ball back, but then we weren't breaking forward once we got the ball. We weren't being dynamic with it. We were very static with the ball. When we didn't have the ball, we sort of knew what our jobs were and what we were supposed to be doing. But without the ball, it didn't, to me, seem like there was a plan to go, right, once we get the ball in this area, bang, 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 bang. We've got David Luiz in a three at the back, which I'll come back to, the three at the back. We've got David Luiz, who I have sort of, for want of a better phrase, championed him being in there. One of the reasons he's there is to pass the ball. He's got a decent range of passing, and we know that he couldn't do it. It was not passing the ball well against Leicester. Sometimes you have off games, right? But when the two roles that you've got are defending and passing, and one of them isn't doing very well, your other one's got to be spot on, all right? Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Ozil, they're such a good front three, and they can really work. But the problem is, Lacazette is your stereotypical number 9, hard as nails, centre forward, apart from the fact he fell over in a box and was trying to make a meal of things. But what I mean is he's a battering ram style of player. So having him as your focal point, as like a diamond with Ozil and Aubameyang, you lose Aubameyang's pace through the middle and you push him out wide, where he's not as effective. We all know that, but that's what's happened, right? So if you're playing 3 at the back, which is what we're doing against Leicester, which I understand, again, it's not a bad formation to have away from home. The 3 at the back I was quite happy with. Chambers, Holding and Louise. That's not bad. That's not bad as it goes. Probably, I don't think I'd change those 3, possibly. Bellerin and Kolasinac at wing backs. I actually think that we should have gone with Tierney. I think Tierney's a better player than Kolasinac now, and he's definitely a better passer of the ball. So I think that's where we let ourselves down at that bit. I just want a little shout out to Hector Bellerin, who's decided to go old school, proper footballer's haircut, black football boots. I mean, what's that all about? Where's that come from all of a sudden? Loving to see that. That's what I associate as footballers there. So then you've got Guendouzi, Torreira in centre mid with Ozil and then Aubameyang and Lacazette. Now that actually isn't a bad access. I think you could probably stand to lose one of Torreira and Guendouzi to bring Pepe in. I think Pepe coming from midfield and running past Ozil, I think for me personally is a better option than having 2 defensive midfielders there. But obviously they're for cover, and that's what they were there for. But when your tactics aren't right, it doesn't matter what players you've got in what positions; they're not going to get the job done. And what we're lacking as well on the pitch, apart from just the tactics, is a captain that gets those tactics, right? Aubameyang is not a captain. Brilliant striker, brilliant centre forward, probably a great person in the dressing room, apart from this whole AFTV liking post nonsense, I don't know, whatever. But he's not the sort of player, again, just as an outsider looking, he doesn't look like the sort of player that can turn around and go, right, this is, you're not quite doing it, we need to go, there's a story Lee Dixon tells about when Tony Adams was Gilles Grimandi, and Lee Dixon were, there was a throw-in, I can't remember what team it was against, probably, let's say Palace, and Lee Dixon had gone in front of the person who was going to receive the ball. And I'm always telling my boy when he's playing football, 5 yards on, 5 yards off, he said, 1 in front, 1 behind, bet. Tony Adams was screaming, Gilles, 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 Gilles Grimandi. And in the end, he turned around and went, what? He went, Rrr! And it just scared the life out of him, And he was worried that if he got something wrong, he was going to have Tony Adams kicking his backside metaphorically and literally all the way down the dressing room tunnel. Now, we haven't got a captain. We don't do captains like that anymore. We don't do a captain that turns around and again, Tony Adams, not on our backyard. Or let's get the 3 points, get out of this hellhole and get back home. You don't have that anymore. The captain's armband is now given to your best player to keep them happy, and hopefully they will sign a new contract. That's what it is with Aubameyang. All right, we did the whole vote thing apparently. I get that, I understand that. But the problem with that, when Xhaka gets made captain, again for me, is that what you're basically saying is this is the person that the players want to have as captain because he's the sort of a scapegoat. we'll have him as captain. That's all right. I don't want it. Let's give it to. And I think that might be a part of it. Footballers, I think that's what they're quite happy with doing. It's not someone that's a lot of the time, like your Roy Keane's, your Patrick Vieira's, John Terry's, Alan Shearer's, nasty bastards that people were worried about upsetting. Whereas if you're a player and you're given the choice, well, let's give it to him. He don't say boo to a goose. Brilliant. Quit in it. Mertesacker even. People like that. You didn't want to upset. You didn't want the focus from them, but you didn't want to be in their glare. Whereas if it's someone like Xhaka, they're probably, and it's the players that have picked, they've probably gone, we're all right with him. Whatever he says, we'll just shrug it off. And to give it to Aubameyang, like I say, the captaincy, I think that just smacks of when we gave Henry the captaincy in his last season, as if to say, please stay. Oh, we don't want to lose you. Which obviously we don't. But I don't think giving the captaincy is the right option. So then, getting back to the game. So you've got Aubameyang drifting out wide, really, when he shouldn't really have been, because he should have had Bellerin going down the side. And what I imagine that the original plan was for Ozil to link the play between midfield and Lacazette. Lacazette would be the one to drop deep, and then Aubameyang run behind him with his pace. Now, Lacazette was dropping really deep, coming right back to halfway line, putting a shift in defence really as well. I saw a lot of, which means you then lose him. But not only do you lose him as a striker, you lose that link part. So then Ozil can't do his job properly, which means Aubameyang can't do his job properly. And that's where it was falling down. These players weren't quite positionally in the right place. Now, you could say that's down to them. You could say it could be down to the manager. Personally, I think the manager's lost his dressing room. I think they're waiting for him to go. I'm not a Saka, I'm a Beckham type of guy. But I genuinely think that this job is probably too big for Unai Emery. Last season, it was nice, it was fresh. We came in, you had new ideas, you could see different things. It felt fresher than when Arsene Wenger was there, maybe because of the whole 20-year thing. And it was just a new, whoa, this feels different. But this year, you can't tell me, as an Arsenal supporter, and I'm sure there are other gooners out there, maybe they will disagree, but I personally think that we're playing the same style of football now as we did under late era Wenger. There's no difference, but I actually think, not I would want him back, I do genuinely think that football had moved on beyond Arsene Wenger, and that's a shame. But I think Wenger could get a better tune out of these guys than Unai Emery could. And I don't think he was backed in the same way as Unai Emery was. But I also think, talking about that, transfer-wise, yes, it was lovely to go out and get Pepe. It wasn't 72 million. It is 72 million. That's what. But we're not paying that. We all know that. It's instalments. Let's sort the defence out first. We had young players that were there that could do what Pepe does, or could become what Pepe could become. Emil Smith-Rowe, Joe Willock, Saka, and save ourselves a ton of money and get ourselves a rock-solid defender. Of course, the problem is rock-solid defenders aren't going to want to come to Arsenal because of the shaky defence in the first place, and we weren't in the Champions League. And this all started back from then, was the not getting into the Champions League last season. That's when the collapse started, and that run of form, not getting to the Champions League, Europa League final, and it's pushed on to the beginning of this season. The 2 goals that Leicester scored were good goals. You can't really take anything away from them, but we didn't have any real chances on goal. And I struggle to get this bit out, right? Set pieces. Now, you see a set piece come in, and you think to yourself, "Whoa, we can't beat the first man every time. What is going on with that? It's such a poor penalty, such a poor free kick or corner, sorry." But it could be that they've been told, this team we're playing against struggles when it gets to the first man. He doesn't know what he's doing. So it could be a tactic, but it's not working. But we don't jazz it up enough, right? But also, what we seem to do as a team is we like to knock the ball back. We like to knock it around. Under Wenger, everyone said, oh, you've got to walk it in, the perfect goal. Under Unai Emery, it feels to me like we can't wait to knock it back to our goalkeeper to start play out from the back again. We could be up at their half, and we'll knock it back. I fully expect in the next couple of weeks for us to get a corner and for the person taking a corner, let's say Ozil, to just smash it all the way back to Burn Leno so we can build from the back again. That's what it feels like. Every time we get forward, if we're not entirely sure what to do, we'll knock it back. And we're not always entirely sure what to do because, as I said before, we're static. No one moves around. No one wants to show for the ball. That is one of the frustrating things to me at the moment. It's slow. There's none of that pinging the ball around. There's none of that desire to get ahead of the ball, to get ahead of the player on the ball. It's back it goes. And then we invite ourselves we invite pressure onto ourselves. And Leicester at the weekend, they looked like what I've accused Arsenal of doing against the Wolves, Leicesters and Southamptons and whoever else. They look like we've just got to turn up. We'll get our chance, we'll score our chance. And that's what they did. I mean, they didn't overpower us. The tactics were working to a degree from Arsenal, but it's like we were where we are, a mid-table team going up against a team that are in the top four. And that's where we are at the moment. And fine, right? That is where we are. But it's hard to take because this team could get better. It could be better. And it could be better with just a minor tweak. It's not a great deal to go into this team to get it better and get it firing. I must be crazy because I still think we've got a shot at getting top four because I still think that teams like Chelsea, Tottenham, and Leicester to a degree, once they get injuries, we've got the Europa League. Leicester haven't got anything. Chelsea have got Champions League. Man United don't even bother thinking about. Spurs have got Champions League, but Man United have got Europa League. All these teams have got other, as well as Arsenal, have got outside the league. Leicester haven't, but I still think once they pick up one or two injuries, they're gonna struggle. Whereas Arsenal have got quite a decent squad in terms of, like I say, Tierney or Kolasinac, Bellerin, Chambers can play there, and so can Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who can also play in midfield. You've got Torreira, Guendouzi, Ceballos when he comes back from injury. You've got Socrates, Luiz, Mavropanos when he comes back. Martinelli looks like a great prospect up front. I'm really looking like the look of him. You've got Pepe, you've got Saka, you've got Lacazette, you've got Aubameyang. So there's something there that a manager that can get players defending first, and not all out defending and roaring and 1-0s and whatnot, but get them into a defensive unit and get the transition. What we need is to get the transition from defence, midfield and attack. Once we get that sorted, we will be a match for most teams in the league. We're not going to go off and win the league, but we could definitely finish fourth. We can definitely do what Leicester are doing, and it just needs a final tweak. I don't know if Unai's going to do it, and if he's not, I genuinely don't know. I don't know what personally, for me, as a stopgap, I've said it before many times, I don't know what he's doing at the moment currently in world football. I think he might be at PSG anyway, I don't know, but I would go Carlo Ancelotti. He's done it in the Premier League, he oozes class. Alright, he's probably not the most attack-minded manager in the world, but we probably need a little bit of a defensive strategy at the back anyway, and then the strikers can do what they want to do anyway. But other than that, as a long term, because I don't think Unai's going to be there long term. I don't think he's not going to go in the winter. I don't think Arsenal will sack him then. I don't think he'll be there in the summer. So then you've got to start looking now at who do you bring in? Do you bring in a name? Or, Luis Enrique's been mentioned because he's done stuff, but he's only done stuff with the best Barcelona side ever. He's not like he's managed all around the world. I think Pep's being shown now as to be someone that he can manage with money, but his squad has been thinned because of injuries, and Liverpool are way out there, you know, and every team that he's managed has never really had a major challenger. Real Madrid and Barcelona, but you know, it wasn't the best Real Madrid side in the world. Bayern Munich didn't really have anyone pressuring them. But you know, when they got to Barcelona, when they got to the Champions League, Barcelona were a bit different because they were the best in the world. But Bayern Munich didn't really pull up trees. So you know, he's showing that he's not the super coach that everyone thought he was. So you know, do you go down that route? Luis Enrique, okay, he might be a good manager, but he's going to be divisive as well because everyone's going to be like, oh, who is he? He hasn't really got a connection to the club. So then you go someone like Mikel Arteta and be divisive again. Yeah, he's got links to the club, but he's never managed at top level, and Arsenal are a top club. Doesn't matter what anyone says. So it's going to be a real tricky situation to replace the manager. But I think what we learned from the Arsene Wenger era is what we shouldn't do is give them more time than is needed. We need to make a decision and think, right, this definitely isn't working. We do need to change it, and it's going to take a monumental effort from Unai Emery to turn that around this season. And I just don't think he'll get a third year. If he does, it's because he gets us into the top four and we win a cup. That's the only thing that's going to save his career at Arsenal. And I can't see both happening. He might get one or the other. I can't see both happening. But that's it. I'm not going to mention the 1-1 draw. Because it was a boring, terrible, turgid performance, much like the Leicester one, but at least we scored one ball into the box, and that's what we scored with. That's what we've got to get better at, the transition to attack. Thanks for watching. I know I probably bore everyone with the same thing over and over again, but that's what this is at the moment, over and over again, Groundhog Day. Please like, share and subscribe, and keep commenting, and I'll see you all later. Cheers.